Barney Stinson was one of the most hypocritical bros in television history. With a supposedly sacred rulebook he treated like law and a catchphrase for literally every situation, this guy was willing to shatter his own bro code the second his feelings got involved. And in this video, we're going over every time Barney broke the bro code, starting with the one that nearly destroyed his most important friendship. Back in Season 1, Episode 14, Zip, 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 Robin ends up hanging out with Barney for the night while Ted's off with Victoria. And this night is legendary. They suit up together, drink scotch, smoke cigars, play laser tag. Robin basically becomes Barney's wingman for the entire evening. And somewhere during all of that, something shifts. Barney starts seeing Robin differently, not just as someone in the group, as someone he's genuinely into. Now here's what's important. At this point in the show, Robin is not Ted's ex-girlfriend. Ted and Robin haven't dated yet. Ted is with Victoria, but Ted did have serious feelings for Robin before that, and everyone in the group knows it. So what does Barney do? He technically checks with Ted first, in the slippery, loophole-hunting Barney way.
I take your silence as a yes, so ergo therefore, say I were to hook up with someone, say, I don't know, Robin, you'd be cool with that, right?
Sure. Good luck with that.
He asks Ted a leading question while Ted is distracted, takes a vague sure, good luck with that as a green light, and runs with it. Is that a clean, noble permission ask? Not really, but it's something. You want to make a move on someone your bro used to have serious feelings for? You at least put it on the table. And Barney does, in his own way. This is also the episode where Barney first references the bro code on screen.
No. That's the bro code.
Not the physical book, not the published document, just the concept, the idea that there are rules between bros. And the first time we hear about it, Barney is at least trying to play by those rules. So on this specific Robin and Ted boundary, Barney initially respects the line. So if Barney understood the code well enough to at least try following it in Season 1, what happened 2 seasons later that made him throw the whole thing away? And why did he think he could get away with it? Because the answer to that question is way more complicated than it looks, and it starts with a Canadian pop star named Robin Sparkles. In Season 3, Episode 16, Sandcastles in the Sand, Robin reunites with Simon, her first boyfriend, the guy who broke her heart way back in Canada. And just like the first time, Simon hurts her again, dumps her, leaves her feeling completely small. And who shows up to pick up the pieces? Not Ted, Barney. Now here's where it gets messy. Barney doesn't just comfort Robin in some surface-level way, he's genuinely there for her. He watches the second Robin Sparkles video with her, the deeply embarrassing one that Robin guards with her life. He's emotionally present in a way that Barney almost never allows himself to be with anyone. This isn't the Barney who runs plays from his playbook. This is a guy who actually cares. And by the end of the night, that emotional closeness crosses a line. They up, they sleep together. And the very first thing they both do afterward, they agree to pretend it never happened, because both of them know exactly what this means. Robin says it herself, she just slept with her ex-boyfriend's really good friend. And Barney knows on some level he won't fully admit yet that what he just did violates the one code he built his entire identity around. This is the confirmed bro code breach, the first major one the show treats as a friendship-shattering betrayal. Not a technicality, not a gray area, not a, well, technically situation. Barney slept with Robin, Ted's ex-girlfriend, without Ted's knowledge or permission. The same guy who at least checked with Ted in Season 1 is now hiding behind a mutual cover story. And the fact that he doesn't come clean right away is what turns a bad decision into an actual betrayal. But the cover-up doesn't hold. And what happens next is one of the most emotionally raw moments in the entire series. Season 3, Episode 17, The Goat. This is the episode where it all falls apart. And when I say all, I mean all of it. Barney knows he crossed a line, and because he is Barney, he immediately tries to turn guilt into a legal technicality. He literally says the words out loud, I think I broke the bro code. And then he hires Marshall. See, Marshall is a lawyer, and Barney treats the bro code like actual binding law. So he brings Marshall in to find a loophole. Some clause, some article, some exception buried in the fine print that says what Barney did was technically legal. And Marshall searches. He genuinely tries. But there's nothing. No loophole, no exception, no legal escape hatch. This is also the episode where the bro code appears on screen as an actual physical document for the first time. Before this, it was just a concept Barney referenced. Now it's a real thing with articles and rules you can flip through. And Marshall even pushes back, calling it just something Barney wrote. But Barney fires back with a fake ancient origin story, treating the whole thing like sacred scripture. Article 1 is bros before hoes. That's the broad principle. But the more specific rule Barney cites after sleeping with Robin is the one that actually matters here. A bro does not sleep with his bro's ex. And that's exactly what he did. He created the rules, he published them, and then he broke the one that was most irrelevant the moment it got in the way of what he wanted. Then Ted finds out, and there isn't a punchline there. The laugh track doesn't soften it. Ted looks at Barney and says, "I don't want to be friends anymore."
Are you saying you don't want to be bros anymore?
I'm saying I don't want to be friends anymore.
That line is devastating because of the season 1 context. Ted knows Barney at least tried to play by the rules before, so this isn't ignorance. Barney didn't accidentally cross a line he didn't know existed. He chose Robin over his best friend, and then he tried to cover it up. Now you'd think that would be the end of their friendship. And for a few episodes, it basically is. Ted is done. But the show doesn't let it stay there. 3 episodes later, in Miracles, something happens that rewrites the whole equation. Barney gets hit by a bus. Not as a joke. Not as a cutaway gag. Barney finds out Ted was in a car accident, and he's so desperate to get to the hospital that he runs into traffic and gets hit by a bus. And when Ted hears that Barney nearly died trying to be there for him, he forgives him. But he doesn't just forgive him. He reframes the entire relationship. He tells Barney, "We're more than friends. We're brothers." That word matters. Because friends operate under the bro code. Brothers operate under something deeper, something that can survive betrayal without pretending the betrayal didn't happen. Ted isn't saying what Barney did was fine. He's saying the bond is bigger than the violation. But here's what most people forget about. While everyone remembers the Robin situation, there's a second bro code incident that the show treats completely differently. And depending on how you read the actual rules, it might be just as bad as sleeping with Robin, or it might be absolutely nothing. Season 4, Episode 11, Little Minnesota. Ted's sister Heather visits New York, and Ted is terrified Barney is going to try something. And fair enough. Barney literally writes inappropriate songs about Heather. Ted has every reason not to trust the guy who broke the code last season around his younger sister. But the twist is that Barney doesn't actually do anything with Heather. They stage a fake hookup together. The whole scene is a setup designed to teach Ted to trust his own sister. It's weirdly sweet in the most Barney way possible. So cross Heather off the list. That's not a real violation. The actual bomb drops later in the same episode, because while Ted's been losing his mind over Heather, Barney casually reveals that he kissed Ted's mother, Virginia Mosby. Now, the bro code has a specific rule about this. A bro's mother is off limits, and here's where it gets genuinely complicated, and the show seems to do this on purpose. The rule's wording sounds broad enough to include any romantic contact, kissing included, but the consequences are played more as a joke than a friendship-ending moment, which muddies how seriously we're supposed to take it. And then, 5 seasons later, in Season 9, Episode 15, Unpause, Barney gets so drunk that Ted and Robin can basically interrogate him about anything. And what Barney confesses is that he only kissed Ted's mother. He didn't sleep with her. She kicked him out right after. There's another wrinkle here that the script needs to be honest about. The kiss with Ted's mom is placed shortly after the events of Brunch in Season 2, which means chronologically, it may have happened before Barney slept with Robin in Season 3. So if a kiss counts as breaking the off-limits rule, then the first bro code violation in the timeline might actually be Virginia, not Robin. But the show never treats it with the same emotional weight. The Robin breach is the one that breaks a friendship. The mom kiss is the one that gets a laugh. So the Robin situation remains the first confirmed breach the show treats as emotionally catastrophic. And the fact that the show treats these 2 violations so differently reveals something important about how the bro code actually works. It's not a consistent legal document. It's whatever Barney needs it to be at any given moment. When the code protects him, it's sacred law. When it restricts him, suddenly there are loopholes to explore. And that hypocrisy reaches its absolute peak in one of the most underrated episodes of the entire series. But before we get there, there's a moment in Season 7 that completely changes the bro code dynamic, and almost nobody talks about it. Episode 17, No Pressure, Ted goes to Barney and basically asks whether Barney is okay with Ted pursuing Robin. This is the Season 1 check-in in reverse. And Barney's response is genuinely surprising. He invokes the bro code. He says bros before hoes, but then he says Robin is his bro too, and that he wants her to be happy even if that means she dates Ted. That's growth. Real growth. Barney isn't breaking the code here. He's evolving past it. He's recognizing that Robin isn't property to be claimed under some article number. She's a person who gets to make her own choices. And Ted acknowledges this. He tells Barney he's grown. For one brief moment, the bro code actually functions the way it's supposed to. Two friends communicating honestly about a complicated situation involving someone they both care about. Which makes what happens in Season 9 even more insane. Season 9, Episode 4, The Broken Code. This is the episode where the entire power dynamic flips on its head. Because for the first time in the series, Barney isn't the one being accused. He's the one doing the accusing. By this point, Barney and Robin are engaged. The wedding is days away, and Barney discovers the tender carousel moment where Ted and Robin held hands, and Barney completely loses it. He drags Ted into a full bro code trial. Marshall appears over Skype as the judge. There's legal language. There are formal proceedings. Marshall delivers a bro-pinion. He drops an e-lawyered. The whole thing is staged as this grand courtroom spectacle. But here's what makes this episode brilliant. Even the fan wiki's continuity notes for this episode explicitly point out the irony. Barney broke the bro code himself when he slept with Robin back in Season 3. The hypocrisy is not subtle. It's the entire point. Barney, the guy who slept with his best friend's ex-girlfriend without asking, is now putting that same best friend on trial over a moment of hand-holding. And the deeper thing is, Barney isn't really mad about a rule violation, he's scared. He's terrified that Ted might take Robin from him the same way he took Robin from Ted. The bro code trial is just Barney's way of processing that fear through the only language he knows: rules, articles, legal procedure. Because if he admitted he was just scared, he'd have to drop the act, and Barney doesn't drop the act easily. Ted doesn't throw it back in his face either. He doesn't say the obvious thing, he just promises not to act on his feelings. Barney forgives him, and the friendship survives again. But not because the bro code is strong, because the brotherhood underneath it is. Now here's the part that reframes every single bro code moment in the entire series. And if you click away before this part, everything you just heard is completely useless without it. Barney marries Robin, and then 3 years later, they're divorced. Robin's career pulls them apart, the relationship cracks, and it's over. The woman Barney broke the bro code for, the woman he built an elaborate proposal around, the woman he put Ted on trial for having feelings about, gone. Then Tracy dies. And in 2030, when future Ted finishes telling his kids this ridiculously long story about how he met their mother, his kids see through it. They realize the story was never just about Tracy. A huge chunk of it was about Robin, about how much she still meant to him. And Ted goes back to Robin, blue French horn in hand. Depending on how literally you apply the bro code, Ted going back to Robin years after her divorce from Barney raises the same question all over again. But the show never treats it as a formal bro code case. There's no trial, no Marshall on Skype, no articles being cited, it just happens. So what was the bro code ever really about? Was it real? Or was it just Barney pretending that messy, complicated human relationships could be governed by a rulebook with numbered articles? The show answers that question, and it's not the answer Barney wanted. The bro code works when the stakes are low, when it's about dibs, when it's about who buys the next round. But the second actual love enters the picture, the whole thing falls apart. Barney couldn't follow it when he fell for Robin, and Robin was never going to be contained by it because she was never just somebody's ex or somebody's fiancé. She was a real person caught between two men who both wanted the rules to work in their favor. Barney created an entire mythology around the code, gave it a fake origin story involving Barnabas Stinson, Broses, and Christopher Columbus. The show even turned the joke into a real Simon & Schuster tie-in book. He built sacred scripture out of a friendship gag, and in the end, the first confirmed breach the show treats as emotionally catastrophic is the one that nearly cost him the most important person in his life. Not Robin. Ted. If you made it this far, go watch the next video on screen.